Good morning, second hour. Today I get to talk to you about Unit 3. We get to start a new one. So we're going to talk today about the Harlem Renaissance, and I'm going to talk to you about a thing called modernism. This is the new writing, well, not new. This is the type of writing we'll be analyzing till the end of the semester. So Unit 3 and Unit 4 are our last two units. So I'll tell you about that today. So today you'll learn modernism, what it is, what questions it answers. You're also going to learn a little bit of background on the Harlem Renaissance, and you're going to have some choices on how you approach that. So let's show you what this looks like on your handout. I've already gone ahead and scrolled down, so if you haven't had a chance yet, get your handout to where I am. So I scrolled down to task 2. Yesterday, as you recall, we were still working, well, not yesterday, yesterday was Wednesday, the day before that, we were still working on, oh my gosh, I don't even know what day it is, still working on paragraph writing. Hopefully you got that done yesterday, but if not, you will have some time today to finish that. So I'm going to preview for you the questions you're going to be asked today, what you need to answer. And as you can see on the screen, I already got one example answer for you, and you are welcome to take that as we go through. As per usual, I'm going to post this answer handout into the green resources examples folder on Schoology. So you have these as a guide to start. So today you're going to be asked, in what time period did modernism happen? That answer I've given you, 1910 and the 1940s. So we're getting closer and closer to our English. Then I'm going to give you several characteristics of the modernism literary movement. You're going to pick at least one. So give or describe one characteristic of the modernism literary movement. What do they believe? What is their writing like? That kind of thing. Then you're going to write or describe one question that modernism considers. And one of the main questions that modernism considers is, what is the American dream? And can everyone achieve it? I'm going to compare and contrast for you our Unit 1 and 2 authors to Unit 3 and 4. And you're going to write at least one way they compare and contrast. So one thing that is different between Units 1 and 2 and Unit 3 authors is the Unit 1 and 2 authors, they all believe strongly in God. The Unit 3 authors are struggling with that connection. They struggle with their faith because of being in 2 world wars, because of industrialization, all these reasons. But the Unit 3 authors, they're really struggling with God. You're also finally going to answer questions about the Harlem Renaissance. So you're going to get a choice here, and I'll preview this for you. You can either skim the slides to answer these questions, or you can click on that blue slide which has links, and you can watch a video on the Harlem Renaissance to get these answers. Entirely up to you how you want to do it. So the first thing I'll answer is, Harlem Renaissance is a literary movement that, so tell me what their goals were or what some of the characteristics are. And then the people who were in this movement were reacting to or wanted, so you can fill in the blank there. This one should be fairly easy once you've gone through all of it, because it's pretty clear what the folks in the Harlem Renaissance literary movement wanted. The short answer is equality. They wanted equality. The last thing you'll do today is you'll write 3 things you found most interesting about the Harlem Renaissance, or 3 things you think are most important to know about it. Here, I'm not grading you on sentence formation. I'm grading you on showing your thinking and learning. So give me enough details to do that. I gave you an example, and of course, you can take this answer. So my example is, one of the things I found most interesting in learning about the Harlem Renaissance is, during the Harlem Renaissance, Harlem had the largest concentration of Black people in the world. So from about 1910 to 1930-ish per capita. So Harlem is about 3 miles total. It's a borough of New York, so it's a part of New York. And during this time, like I said, I find it kind of crazy. It kind of blows my mind. There were more Black people per square foot in Harlem than there were in all of Africa. So this movement is largely about what's it like to be a Black person? What is it like specifically being a Black person in America? All right, so that's what we're going to write about today. We're going to learn about the past. So let's show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go past all our slides from yesterday. So first, I'm going to start with comparing and contrasting Unit 1 and 2 with Unit 3. You recall that prompt from a moment ago. So our past authors that we studied in American Lit, let's go down the list. Here are some things that define them. They're pretty optimistic. They believed in God. They believed that America can be formed unlike other places because America was new at the time. For our Unit 1 and 2 authors, most of society lived in the country, and they really believed in self-determination. You may have noticed that reading all their works. They really believe you figure out how to make your life what it should be. Now, on the other hand, our Unit 3 authors, Modernism authors from 1910 to the 1940s, they're not as optimistic. In fact, they're wary. So a lot of their writing shows that they don't have faith. They don't believe in hope. One of the reasons, world wars. So this also fractured their relationship with God. They had seen so many horrible things that they just didn't have room in their heart for optimism. They don't really believe that America can be unlike other countries, but the Unit 3 authors do believe that American society should be improved. They really believed, hey, we can make changes. They just don't go about it as optimistically as the Unit 1 and 2 authors do. For our Unit 3 authors, most of them lived in the cities. They don't live in the country anymore, so that also shows some of their perspective. So another thing you're going to see for the Unit 3 authors is psychology was just starting out at this time as a science. So they were really interested in subconscious motivations. So why do people do the things they do? Are they always aware of the things they do? So that's a little bit on how these compare and contrast. So modernism is a literary movement where you have, like I had said, people who are less optimistic writing, and they show people really the main thing that modernism writers write about is people struggling with the rules of manifest destiny America. You may remember in history class learning about how America for quite a long time really justified its expansion west and its expansion into other country, basically justified anything the country did as, well, it's destiny, we have to. This is our purpose through God. He put us here to conquer this nation. The modernists really aren't about that. In fact, they're reacting to it. They're also known as the lost generation because literally so many people died during the two world wars that it was like a whole generation of men was gone. So key things to remember, characteristics that you can write on your handout. So you can tell it's modernist writing if it's experimental, if it confronts authority, or it describes whether or not past generations were right. So in the Romanticism writing, as you recall, they were nostalgic about the past, like, oh, remember when? These writers don't have that point of view. They're not, oh, remember when? They're more, yeah, I remember when racism like took over the entire land and we decided we could have Mexico. That's essentially their point of view. A couple questions that modernism considers, you'll see this reflected in their works, is what is the American dream and can everyone reach it? Next, is good writing based in reality? And then finally, how important is it for writing to reflect or examine societal issues? How important is it for writing to include the good and the bad about people? So as you're learning more about this topic, I have included some links for you. I mentioned this at the beginning. So next, we're going to learn background about the Harlem Renaissance. I'm going to preview the slides for you. You have a choice. You can either watch one of these videos on the Harlem Renaissance and get your information for your prompts, Or you can go through these slides. I would suggest you skim them, not read them. You can go through these slides that Ms. Fedora has put together for us. Frankly, they're lovely. That's why I'm using what she has. So it starts out with, well, what is a Renaissance? A Renaissance is usually an artistic movement. It usually means there's a group of people who are working together to not only make more art, but to make art that says something about society. So that's what the Harlem Renaissance was. Originally, they called it the New Negro Movement. They did not have the term then African American. And just like I said a moment ago, this is the 1920s through the 40s. More in the 20s, the 30s, they were more quiet, and then they had another revival. But what the Harlem Renaissance is several Black writers living in Harlem, talking about all their experiences that Black people had in America then, talking about segregation, talking about racism, talking about their goals and what they wanted to achieve. So as you can see, there's quite a few slides here. So what I'm going to have you folks do for the rest of the time is you get a choice. You can go through these slides to get your information for your prompts on the Harlem Renaissance, or you can go watch those videos. Either way, I want to give you that choice so you can get the information in the best way possible. I've also planned it, as I said at the start, so you have some extra time today if you need it to go and finish those paragraphs from the beginning of the week. As per usual, I'm here if you need me. Go for it.